Understanding Translations Lesson 17. You should have already uploaded the notes to Notability and should have already attempted to do the review. The review is nothing new. You're plotting points on the coordinate plane and then connecting the points. So for number 1, if you connected the 3 points, you should have gotten a triangle. Number 2 should have also been a triangle, 3 a rectangle, and 4 a rectangle. Now remember, this is review. This is stuff you've already done before. So the x-coordinate, the first coordinate, you move either to the left or to the right. You move to the left if the x-coordinate is negative. You move to the right if the x-coordinate is positive. The second coordinate is y-coordinate, and it is either up or down. If the y-coordinate is positive, you go up. If the y-coordinate is negative, you go down. This is where you often would hear me say, walk to the tree before you climb the tree, or walk then jump. Either way, make sure you're going to the left or right for the first coordinate and up or down for the second coordinate. So for number 1, you should have gone to the left because it's negative, then up. To the left because it's negative, then up because it's positive. To the left, and then up, and so forth. So this is what your figures should have looked like if you plotted them correctly. So please take this time, pause the video, check your work with these, and make sure they are correct. Okay, the reason why this is a review is because the next several lessons we're going to be doing a lot of graphing. So you got to remember that you start at the origin, the point in the middle, and you go left or right first and then up or down. All right, right now I would like you to pause the video, get your definitions written down, and fill in your blanks. Okay, transformation. A transformation is a change in position or size of a geometric figure. You've all heard of a transformation before. This day and age with Instagram and all kinds of stuff like that. You've heard of Transformation Tuesdays before. It's where people will post something where you can see this change. Okay, and transformation is a change. Well, we're going to be dealing with change with geometric figures. We're going to learn about 4 types of transformations. The first type of transformation you're going to learn is translation. This is where the figure will slide from one position to another. The second type we're going to learn about is reflection. That's where an image will be flipped. The third type is rotation. That's where an image will turn. And the last type is dilation. Have you ever been to the eye doctor before and they put the drops in your eyes and it dilates your pupils? That's what this will be. The figure will stay the same shape, but the size will change with the dilation. Now with translations, rotations, and reflections, the size and shape will stay the same the entire time. But with dilations, the shape will stay the same, but the size will change. So we will have a pre-image and an image. The pre-image is the original figure before its transformation. And then the image is the figure after the transformation. So you have your pre-image and your image. Pre-image is what you start with. The image is what you get after performing the transformation. A figure can be named by a single letter or by the letters at each vertex. If the vertex of a pre-image is labeled with the letters such as A, the corresponding vertex of the image is labeled with the same letter but with a prime symbol, such as A prime. So that last letter there, that's pronounced A prime. Okay, so now they were saying that a figure can be labeled with a single letter. So looking at our pre-image and the image down here at the bottom, the pre-image could be labeled with a single letter. So let's label this with a T. So if the pre-image is a T, then the image would be T prime. Or it could be labeled using letters at each vertex. So let's label this A, B, C, D. And therefore the image would be labeled A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. So again, your pre-image is just T, your image would be T prime. Or your pre-image could be labeled with the vertices, which would be A, B, C, D, and therefore the image would be A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Now, up here, it talks about corresponding parts, okay? So when you look at these two figures, A corresponds with A prime, B corresponds with B prime, C corresponds with C prime, and D corresponds with D prime. So please take a moment and write that down. Pause your video to write it down. Okay, so again, your pre-image does not have the prime symbol. The image does have the prime symbol. Go ahead and pause your video and get your definitions written down. Congruent. I know you've heard the word congruent before. We talked about it. Congruent is when two figures have the exact same shape and size. Congruent means two figures have the exact same shape and size. The symbol for congruent has this squiggly line over top of an equal sign. So go ahead and get your congruent symbol written down. Now there's a difference between being congruent and being equal. Measurements are equal, figures are congruent. Measurements are equal, figures are congruent. So if we're going to be talking about numbers, that's when we'll use an equal sign. But if we're talking about just the angle or just a side, the parts of a figure, then that's when they will be congruent. So right now, I would like you to pause your video and write this down. You would say measure of angle A or AB equals a measurement. So when you have the equal sign, we're talking about the measurement. Or if you have angle A is congruent or side AB is congruent. Now notice with the sides, when we were talking about measurement, there's not a line above it. But when you do talk about the actual figure, then you do put a line above AB. Pause your video and get that written down. Okay, so remember, measurements are equal, figures are congruent. Measurements are equal, figures are congruent. So one more definition. Translation. Translation is a type of transformation in which the pre-image slides to a different location without turning or changing in any way. The image is congruent to the pre-image. So in translations, the pre-image and the image are congruent. Now it slides into a different position. I'm going to go back up to our review section here. Watch if I take this figure down here, I can slide it up, put it right over top. See how they're the exact same shape and size? Or I could do the same thing over here. I could slide it, put it over top of that figure. Again, they're the exact same shape and size. I didn't turn it, I didn't flip it, I slid it to a different position. That's what a translation is. So a translation slides to a different location. So underline the words slides to a different location. Does not turn and it does not flip, does not change size in any way. So that is your review and definition part of translation notes. If you have any questions, let me know.